Oh, interesting. Veganism. Can you justify why you eat the corpses of sentient beings? Okay, first of all, that is the most badass way anyone has ever described just being a meat eater. I'm going to use that term for the rest of time. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's because they're tasty. I suppose is the main reason. The same reason that I eat whatever sludge and slop Cadbury put out, even though it's got, beetles in it. I'll be like, this is quite tasty. You ever tried duck? Duck's great. It's lovely and tasty. Now, if you want to be vegan, vegetarian, fruitarian, whatever you want to have, absolutely fine. You go for it. Fully support your lifestyle choices if you want to do that. It is absolutely okay to support someone having the lifestyle choices they want to have. It's not okay to force your choices onto somebody else. That's one of the big things that I've discovered. Absolutely okay to have whatever lifestyle choices you want to have. And it's expecting yourself to follow your own rules is fine. Expecting me to follow your rules is not fine. Now, those rules might be very understandable. They might be very moral. They might be correct. They might be objectively and subjectively correct. And I might look and go, you know what? I want to follow this. That's an entire thing. And that's okay. Life choices can change as you get older, as you learn more. It's totally fine. But one of the fastest ways to put people off following whatever your life choice happens to be is guilting them for not following it and then demanding them they do. Because what most people will then do is push back against what you're telling them to do, even if what you're telling them to do is good for them and right and good for the environment and, good points all round. Because a lot of people will push back as soon as they're told to do something, especially if someone tells them to do it in a smug, arrogant, narcissistic kind of way. That's one thing I tend to find. So everyone in the chat, just let me know about this. Have you ever spoke to someone who has told you to do something, but they've told you to do it in such a way that comes across as incredibly patronizing or arrogant or belittles you and almost makes them feel good by like a superiority complex? And even though what they're telling you to do is something that you would probably quite like to do, you now don't want to do it specifically because you dislike the person that has told you to do it. It is one of the most counterintuitive ways that any group or any individual attempts to convert people to their cause. Because, and I'll share the psychology on this, whenever an individual or a group of people go out in an attempt to effectively preach or pontificate their views to the world or to an individual, if they're doing it with understanding, with care, with patience, and with genuine empathy, you're much more likely to convert to whatever their views are and agree with them. If they're doing it with arrogance, if they're doing it with narcissism, if they're doing it in a way that bigs them up as correct and puts you down as wrong, they're not actually doing it to convince you to join them. They're doing it because it makes them feel good about themselves. And it's a way to effectively punish the other, which in this case is you. It's almost like a cult tactic of pushing people who don't follow your doctrine away in order to convince the people that do follow your doctrine that they are correct. And this actually has a place in kind of cult growth or cult mentality. It's very much a tactic used to support and to kind of maintain control and maintain passion, fire and drive within the in-group, effectively, if you will. So if you're a cult leader, Creed said it best in The Office, you have more fun as a follower, but you make more money as a leader. If you are a cult or a group leader, and I'm not saying veganism a cult, I'm just saying that any group of people that want to subscribe to any level of personal choice or doctrine and then push it onto somebody else, any level of kind of group like that do need to acknowledge that at least on some level, you're going to have to, first of all, convince other people that you're right, but then you're going to have to convince the people that are already in your group that they are super special and should remain. So it's very difficult to kind of get into this without naming specifics, and I don't particularly want to do that. But whenever you are told by a group to do what they do, or you're wrong, and they're telling you in a way that makes you feel bad, they're not trying to convert you. Because if they were genuinely trying to convert you, they would be doing it in a much nicer, much more effective way. What they're trying to do is justify themselves and make themselves feel good and give themselves a little bit of power. So when you say, how do I justify kind of eating meat? I understand that when you approach the discussion and the topic with that level of energy, you're not actually looking to kind of engage in good faith. You're looking as a way to make me feel othered and make me feel wrong for not agreeing with your views immediately. Someone in chat are like, I disagree. Okay, meat eaters do the same. Yeah, they do. Religious people do the same. Absolutely. The best way to convert someone to your cause is to make them think they have the idea to do it anyway. It's effectively the plot of Inception. You put the idea that you want to have happen as a seed within someone's mind, and then they come up with it. However, in order to plant an idea in someone's head and then have them think they came up with it, will take away the power and agency that you have in the situation, because no one will think you've done anything and you won't be able to say, hey, look, I've done that. You'll have to sit back there quietly and silently, knowing you've caused it, but without any of the praise, external praise anyway, that comes from being seen to have caused it. It's like the old God line in Futurama: when you do something correctly, people won't think you've done anything at all, which is a very interesting way of looking at it. So if I want to convince someone of something and I end up correctly convincing them of that thing, but no one knows that I'm responsible for that change in thought, no one's going to praise me for doing it. And sometimes what you want is the praise for doing it more than the actual, change in the effect. Does anyone else in the chat agree or disagree with that? Because if you want to convince someone of your point of view, just slamming them over the head with your point of view ain't going to do it. Because then they're going to push back not against the point, but against you. You want to convince someone of your point of view, one of the best things to do is to ask them why they feel the way they do currently. Just keep asking how they feel. Keep asking why. Probe. Ask leading questions that causes them to come up with the answer that you want them to get to, but it makes them think they came up with it themselves, and then they feel smart. If your end goal is to actually change the opinion of someone else, you sometimes need to approach it without an ego. If your end goal is to simply smash your ego into someone's face and make yourself feel better about it, or smarter or superior, then yeah, just go around telling people they're wrong. That's fine as well. And someone in the chat just said, oh my God, that's extremely manipulative. Yes, it is. However, what's more manipulative? Me knowing these techniques and sharing them with you and how they work, or me knowing them and not sharing them with you? I think sunlight is a great disinfectant, and I think one of the best ways to get rid of anything negative is to put a spotlight on it and allow it to defend itself. And if it can't defend itself, if it can't stand up to scrutiny, then it will slowly crumble by itself, and you won't necessarily need to do anything to destroy it. Most things will just destroy themselves given enough time. So yeah, it's absolutely manipulative, and it's something that I'm fully aware of, that I am, I suppose, trained in because of the acting. So I don't mind sharing it with you, because this is the reality of it. It's, yeah, a really bad Jedi mind trick, pretty much.